I was with the people of Engage this past Sunday. It's our Muslim community here in Hampden Township. And the week before that, I was with the NAACP. And I was quick to point out that you as groups are not alone. The NAACP was founded in 1908 by 40 people, only 10 of which were people of color. When you meet with these people and talk to them, you reaffirm that you will stand forward and say that these things that are happening are wrong. I'm standing forward to say these things are wrong.
I'm going to take the time to respond on one issue. I'm not going to go through everything here because, as I said, this is not a political forum. On that particular thing that you addressed, the subject matter was not the group that was the subject of the study by NIH. The objection was to spending $1.5 million on an issue of, is there some reason that some particular segment of society, or that a particular segment of society, there's a weight differential. That's what boggled my mind. It was NIH's study that came to the conclusion, not mine. And I was trying to find the
You sure found the meanest way to say it.
That is.
Well,
That's correct.
that may be.
Just apologize. Just apologize and say I'm sorry for the offense
Apologize.
that I caused. That's it. That's all anybody wants, and you're not doing it.
Say that
so why
again?
is that?
Say what?
Just apologize for the offense that you caused. Why have you not done that? And why have none of you said the same thing?
Because it's silly.
Because
It's
they
just
won't.
silly.
Because they won't do it. And that's the answer. You'd rather talk about the details of the study that nobody cares about. They care about our representation on this panel.
Well, I know you may rather do that, but this is a budget workshop and something that we're legally required to put together, which is the budget.
Sir, no one wants to be here talking about this.
No.
None of us.
Agreed.
That's right.
But I think you
100%.
misrepresented because you didn't read clearly what I was saying.
Did you
But we
just
saw.
explain that?
Yeah, we read it clear.
We all read it.
Every one of them, yes.
I'm not sure if everybody up there has read it. The rest of us have read it, and we are very upset. So your lack of response is not acceptable. You had an open forum to which residents and constituents brought questions and concerns to you, and none of you made a peep about it.
Because this is not a political forum, I'm going to ask you to get on to subjects that relate to township business and not politics.
This
I
is
would
township
like-
business.
This is. And I would like every one of your emails right now, so we can all reach out to you.
Happy to give them to you.
Great. Please let me know what it is.
Why isn't there a township email for you guys, like the CD school board or?
We have-
you know, Then, you know, Mr. Thomas just gave me his Comcast email. So why aren't those posted on the website?
I'll put my township email address on the website. I gave you my personal.
I understand that, but I'm saying this is township business. See, we're having a cross here between personal interactions and what your elected duties are. You know, your elected duties aren't supposed to go and on next door and explain things. Your elected duties are to go on official township medium and explain that there. Okay, you're supposed to be available to official, you know, there's records of information that are kept.
Kathleen, I have gotten nothing but positive comments from the people on next door. Nothing but positive. You know what? That's not right. I have got nothing but positive. I'll show you them. Nothing but positive comments about my willingness to try to tell people what's going on next door.
Mr.
Constantly.
Thomas, my point is not about a popularity contest.
I'm not talking about being.
My point
I'm not
is
gonna argue.
about
That's not
using
right.
the
You know what?
correct forum to inform the citizens of Hampden Township.
Kathleen, please. You know, in the middle of a conversation, in the middle of a sentence, you wouldn't let me finish even the sentence. That's not that. I listened to everything you had to say, and I said I agreed with the points that you made. What I'm saying is that the people of the township, they don't care if I go. I have gone over the years to civic associations and made presentations about what's going on, answered Q&As. I've done it on social media. I've done it here in the township. There's a lot of ways to talk to the folks. And there's nothing that's wrong. I agree with what you're saying about using the social media more than what we're doing. I agree with it. But there's nothing wrong with using the social media that other people are using. You do it, and I do it, and other people do too. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. That's all I'm saying.
And we do have the township newsletters and email lists.
And
that
none
people
of you
sign up
have
for.
responded about the issue why we are all here.
Well, we are
Sir,
here
what is
to
your
talk about the
position,
budget.
Mr. Gaston, what is your response to the allegations made and admitted to by Mr. Beanstalk?
First time I heard it was Monday when a member of the township, a representative of the township, contacted me. That was the first time I heard it. I was shocked. And I contacted Commissioner Beanstalk, and he and I had a conversation, and I clearly communicated my personal opinion of the postings, and that will remain between the two of us. But I do not find what was posted, I don't believe in that. So that's my position. That was, and Monday was the first time I had ever read or heard any of that. And I'd be more than happy to tell you who contacted me off record.
Yeah.
And he will attest that I was shocked.
And you?
Mr. Zolkowski.
Yeah.
I don't condone the content of the limericks, and this is a budget workshop, and that's what I'm primarily focused on this evening. I'm certainly welcoming public comments at this point, so we're not going to take official action on this issue here tonight, particularly, but I do not condone, and it's going to be up to Commissioner Beanstalk to explain that in the public forum.
Well, how do you feel about his flippant response and lack of apology to the communities he's supposed to be serving and that you're supposed to be serving?
Again, this is a workshop and not a public, it's not a meeting for an action meeting. is
When
what
will
I'm
that
trying to
be?
say.
Okay,
We have a
can I
meeting,
add-
as was stated earlier, we have a meeting on Wednesday night of next week.
Wednesday night. So can I just interrupt that by, first of all, you explained to me that this was not the forum, and so you shut down my question because I asked what it was. But you responded to the gentleman that just left. So I would like equity and parity. If you're going to answer his questions, you're going to answer me. You explained to me and I stepped down. You said it was not a forum. So I would like to say that you're a public official, you made a comment publicly in the newspaper. I'm a member of Hampden Township, I pay my taxes. You're my public official. So please explain to me, I respect this forum. This is finance. I ask the question, any item off the agenda. So please let us know where we can come and discuss the comment you, the public official, made in the public domain so that we can address that. Because, you said to me, I'll give you my email and then talk about it privately, I guess. But you made a public comment, so I would like a public discussion.
And make money off of
Well,
it.
as a matter of fact-
If you let me know, I understand this is about the budget, so if I can just understand the process, then I'll come to that meeting and then we can have, you can respond, if that's okay.
I've been approached by 3 different media outlets,
So is this the forum for
and
it?
I responded to them.
So is this the forum to discuss your comments?
This is not a forum
Okay,
to
so
discuss
what's the
anything.
forum, please? So, what's the forum for that?
You can contact me directly, you can have my email address, I'll give you, my phone number is on there, my cell phone number. I'm happy to respond to anyone.
You just responded publicly to a white man and have dismissed a woman of color, Mr. Beanstalk.
Amen.
I don't, sir, it was a public comment, you're a public official, just, what's public forum to discuss this? Is
There
there
is no
one?
specific public forum. If you want to create a public forum, I will try to attend.
Oh, there isn't,
Try.
so there isn't like a general township meeting, like a,
There is a township meeting, if you want to come, on October 30th.
okay. That's a general meeting where people can
That's a general
come
meeting.
forward and discuss issues.
And you
Because
will
this is a
discuss
finance-
this there? Will you be in
Will you be
attendance
there?
next
I will
Wednesday?
be in attendance.
And you will speak about this next Wednesday?
If I get questions, I'm gonna rely on my solicitor to find out if that's appropriate.
It is.
My guess
wanna
is
do what-
I'll be able to.
It is.
I just want to.
You can bring it up, but members of the public can ask you and you can respond. That's the Pennsylvania law.
Yes.
The last person that I'm gonna rely on for legal advice is the gentleman who just spoke.
Well, we can
Because
tell you
the
that came
gentleman
from
who just
Eugene
spoke-
Episwale, who's the Auditor General of Pennsylvania, so, I mean, we asked his
No,
opinion.
I'm talking about the gentleman in the rear.
Who was one of your
He
constituents,
asked
so be
Eugene
careful what you say
Episwale,
about it.
and I mean, if you don't wanna trust Eugene's opinion on that matter, then by all means, we can ask him to come too and present his thoughts on this matter.
Well, I gave you my answer.
Okay, you want to do it 30th of October?
Can the other, Mr. Petro, Mr. Thomas, can you please answer
Yeah.
Ms. Shakespeare's, questions?
It's all right. I think that it's easy for me to say that I agree with Mr. Gaspich and Mr. Silcox. I think we're all on the same page. Thank you.
Mr. Petra?
I agree.
Okay, so none of you are comfortable.
Well, actually, Mr. Silcox and Mr. Gaspich weren't in agreement. Mr. Silcox did not give any type of information how he felt about it. Mr. Gaspich
I
gave
told
his
you I
first.
don't condone, what was expressed in the lyrics.
Okay, you don't condone?
Right.
Okay.
And that's, you know, I said it's up to Mr. Beanstalk at this point, President Beanstalk, to, discuss, you know, that aspect of it, so. And I said tonight is not the forum in terms of, for us as commissioners to act on this matter. This is a workshop primarily based on the budget. Next Wednesday is official meeting.
But we're having a budget workshop that we were allowed to have public comment.
Right, so I'm
That's
welcoming.
not about budget, but we're not allowed to talk about that.
I'm not excluding, I'm not keeping you from making your public comments on these matters. I'm certainly, I'm welcoming your comments, I'm listening, doing the best I can on that front, and at the next public meeting, we'll go from there.
Okay. Pardon neglect sunglasses. My regular ones are, I think, in the car, but these are prescription. I agree with all. My name's Carol Lane. I live on Logan Court, Camp Hill, Hampden Township. I agree with all that's been said. I've made a couple posts on my Facebook page with Mr. Beanstalk's comment. But I want to also mention my despair over this Brambles West apartment complex. What I was a former elementary teacher, so I really relate to these little guys. The walk that has been provided, if you want to call it that, whatever the heck it is, to the bus stop. I viewed the video that showed the whole walk. I viewed every square inch of it and horrified. You people should have, in all good conscience, walked that walk. It's deplorable. There are spots along there that are perfect places for some pervert to stand in the shadow and nab these children. They're not visible from any place. This walk down to the pike, it's awful. If I, for some reason, had to live there, I would drive my children to school every single day or to the bus stop. Hopefully, I didn't have a work schedule that would conflict that I would not be able to drive them. It is not safe. It is absolutely, positively not safe. And you all have an obligation to walk it and check it out. I also noticed that there's, I don't know how many trees you've knocked down. Oh, that's really good for runoff. This issue came up before. We've all recently have a runoff tax or whatever it's called, and that's because you've allowed so much development. There's so much macadam. Land doesn't perk. We do not have enough perkable land, so it runs off. I would like you to think about that when you think about more developments, not just the traffic, that we're just simply paving over everything. There's not much land to perk, so the water can come down and go into the water table. Okay, that's it. Thank you. please take that walk.
Just
Good conscience.
a brief comment. I'm not personally aware that the school district has approved that designated bus stop just yet. The developer indicated that they were going to approach the school district about their proposed location, but I'm not aware that it's been approved by the school district, and they will ultimately be the ones who make that decision.
But that's beside the point. I got it, Kathleen. That's beside the point. That's beside the point. Why did you even approve it to this point that the school district has to turn it down?
We couldn't-
Who should have turned
We
it
couldn't
down?
disapprove it based upon that.
Pardon me?
We couldn't disapprove it
Based
based upon.
upon no safe, no
Correct.
egress to the pike?
Correct. We had this discussion here.
It's a
at the-
landlocked
Yeah,
development.
we had this very discussion, I believe two commissioners' meetings, we had this very discussion. And I stated it then, I'll state it now, I did not like that plan. I was hoping that we could find something to disapprove that plan on. I asked these very questions to our solicitor and was told that no, if we would have denied the plan based on, you heard earlier on the waiver on the stormwater, as well as you heard, we were talking about the bus stop here as well. If we had denied the plan, the developer very well would have sued and we would have lost. And we would have been on the hook financially as taxpayers for that bill.
You're saying a development does not have to provide access to roads.
Keith, do you want to explain a little bit further on that?
Just yes or no, is it okay?
Well, I'm a little confused by the question or comment because there is access via Crossgate Drive, which again, as we stated earlier, PennDOT will have to make a determination whether or not any improvements are required and what type of restricted turning movements would possibly be required on Crossgate Drive where it intersects the Carlisle Pike, which is owned and maintained by the state.
And you get to Crossgate, is it Crossgate Drive that one is on to get to the pike?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that convoluted pathy thing?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Crossgate Drive is a private street to which the developer has access rights, and it's I would say probably a couple hundred yards in length, and it's a straight road back to the proposed development site.
So our major concern in terms of the bus stop was that it was going to be on the Carlisle Pike. And we certainly don't want to see a school bus stop on the Carlisle Pike for those children. And so what the developer said, they went to the school district, or were going to the school district, in terms of that alternative plan. What's the, was it Richard or
Richard.
Richard Park one, and for the kids to come through that back way that you saw in the video. And I have walked in that corridor myself, so I'm certainly aware of what you're talking about.
The shadows?
Well, there's shadows right now,
The areas that are totally cut off from any place else?
There's certainly shadows, there's certainly trees there, but doesn't mean when it's all said and done, that there might not be, additional lighting put in there.
You're not gonna get defense of that plan on this board, because the board didn't like the plan. And we had serious problems with the plan. All 5 members of the board are sitting there saying the traffic coming out at that stop sign, it's a stop sign by Denny's. That's how you get out of there. You have to go to Denny's, where that stop sign is, and then everybody has to turn right. No left turns coming out of Denny's. Now think about it, all the traffic has to go to that stop sign. If there's whatever number of units back there, in the morning at rush hour, all those cars are gonna go there, have to stop at the stop sign, there's no light. They can't get over to the light in front of Park Inn. They're not allowed to go through Knoll Acres to get out, so that's where they have to go. Also, the Denny's breakfast traffic. Now, let's say that the school district says, okay, we'll let the bus go back that private drive and pick up the kids, okay? Now they're in that traffic mess, because that's all at rush hour. It made no sense to the board. So we turned to the solicitor and said, can't we do anything? And he said, they have the right to go to Crossgate Drive, is that what's called? So what we did was we said, okay, we want you to go to PennDOT. And they said, we don't have to go to PennDOT, we come around on Crossgate Drive. We said, we want you to go to PennDOT to get it, and that's going to be a condition of approval. So they reluctantly agreed to go to PennDOT because for the life of me, I can't figure it out. I told them, I can't figure out how you're going to market to people that wanna live back there, how they're gonna get in and out. I could get in, but get out in the morning, it just didn't make any sense to me. But we weren't allowed to turn it down because of that. So we couldn't turn it down because of the Carlisle Pike problem. We couldn't turn it down because of the bus stop. And then we had a couple other issues with it too. But all of them were not sufficient to turn the plan down. But I can tell you, there were 5 votes to turn it down if there was a hook that we could have put in it. And everybody knows it. I mean, everybody that was at the meeting knows that we were frustrated. But the way the rules are in Pennsylvania, you have to approve it if it meets the ordinance. Well, there was another problem on top of everything else. We tried to get them to extend it, to try to work out some of these problems like Kathleen was talking about. They refused. They said, nope, you gotta vote. If we didn't vote that night, the next day, it automatically became approved, automatic. We had conditions that they agreed to. If you have an automatic approval, good chance those conditions go away. So, including the one that we said you had to go to PennDOT. So the board was caught between a rock and a hard place. The lawyer said you have to vote for it. The developer says they won't give us an extension to try to work out some of the problems. So there we were sitting there saying, well, what are we gonna do? We got a gun to our head on the timing. We don't like the plan, but the plan meets the township ordinances. Under Pennsylvania law, you can't turn out a plan that meets the ordinances. So there you go. You see,
I see what you're saying.
it's tough.
Is it possible, if this isn't gonna help right now, but for you to change your ordinances so that development like this won't be possible?
In terms of, we've already
Already
started
started.
that process, yes.
So when is the next workshop for zoning, or whatever we need to do?
There's planning commissions, and the planning commission met to start the process on that.
I think what Kathleen wants to know, what was the last time we did a comprehensive plan?
Well, we just did the comprehensive plan in 2015.
2015, and how, it's 10 years?
Almost
It was, before that, it was 20 years, so the 2015 one was.
We're one of the fastest growing counties in Pennsylvania. If you guys haven't heard, in every single article they write about the area, Cumberland County is one of the fastest growing counties, Silver Spring and Hampden Township.
All right, Silver Spring's taking us over.
Silver Spring's taken over.
Okay, yeah, but they actually have ordinances and, they preserve farmland, you know, they pass.
The county administers the plan, Silver Spring has another plan, right, an additional plan on top of that,
So
right?
we have but one farm left here in Hampton?
I believe we have 2.
Oh, 2, okay, sorry.
Right.
And,
And I met with that farmer, and he wants to keep that farm another generation, which is a wonderful thing.
But do you commit to putting a moratorium on accepting any development plans until the township, reviews and creates a new comprehensive plan, so we don't run into the same problem again?
We don't have the legal ability to do that. We've been advised by.
Pennsylvania is not a legal place for moratoriums. There's no moratoriums. Some states, there's about 15 or some states, I think you can Google it, but there's a handful
I'm
of
just saying
states.
like a temporary moratorium until we get this review, because once a plan is submitted, you can't, and the ordinance change, that plan's grandfathered into the old ordinance.
Yeah,
I
we
understand
have
what you're
questioned that, and we've been told that under the law, we cannot do that.
They're not legal in Pennsylvania.
So
I did,
how long will it take to get this new plan and review done?
Well, so if you don't mind, Commissioners, I'll address that question. The comprehensive plan was something that was done through many public outreach meetings along with a consultant. The draft versions of that were discussed in public meetings at both the Planning Commission and Board of Commissioners meeting. Information about it was readily available on the Township website as well as the newsletter. Long story short, the recommendation by the Commonwealth is that a comprehensive plan be updated every 10 years. A comprehensive plan, and Commissioner Silcox just advised you that the last time was 2015, so we're not even at that 10-year mark. The comprehensive plan is not a zoning principle, but rather a concept by which you do long-range planning on what you envision the landscape of the municipality to look like through a 10-year snapshot. And again, the Board of Commissioners retained a professional consultant to do public outreach and get input from the community.